Chairperson Dr. Kiran Grewal from the University of Sydney, Australia. Thank you very much for that introduction. And Dean Law Dr. Mahanama Heva, Dean Law of KDU, Mr. Mangala Vijayasinghe, Secretary of the Symposium, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My topic for today is a case report of a successful conviction in a case of homicide, lessons to be learnt, and my co-author is Mr. Sarath Jayamanne, Deputy Solicitor General of the Attorney General's Department, and both of us were associated together in this case. First of all, if I go to the background of this case, this happened in the beautiful village of Kobegane, which is in the Kurunegala district, and for your benefit, Madam Chairperson, which is about 100 kilometers from Colombo. And it is 12 miles from Variapola, which is said to be the town where the legendary King Ravana is purported to have had an airport. A much publicized murder of a local beauty queen took place in this town during the turbulent times of the country due to the southern insurrection. The officer in charge of the police station was charged with the murder of this beauty queen and disposal of the body. He further intimidated material witnesses and misled the investigation by changing vital pieces of evidence. However, the mechanism of the criminal justice process was much more effective than the plans of the perpetrators. Upright police officers of the Criminal Investigation Department performed detailed and exhaustive investigations. The prosecution examined many documents and turned every stone to extract the truth. The officer in charge of the police station was convicted of the crime and the death sentence was imposed on him. Excuse me till I get this organized. So, this incident of murder happened more than 20 years ago, and the final appeal court judgment was delivered more than 10 years ago. So, that is the background. Let me get to the commencement of investigation by the CID, Criminal Investigation Department. On the 31st of January 1991, a complaint was made by a villager of Kobegane to the police headquarters in Colombo. So, he travelled 100 kilometers from Kobegane to Colombo to make this complaint regarding the killing of his daughter Manel Nilanthi 18 months ago and disposal of her body by burning, as reported in the Sri Lanka law reports. Accordingly, as directed by the Director CID, on 5th of February 1991, an inspector of the CID proceeded to Kobegane and visited a site shown by the said father. His name was Dingiria, where bone pieces and pieces of burnt tire were found. Now, let me take you to the background story revealed in the High Court and subsequent appeal court. This is public material recorded in the Sri Lanka law reports. In a beauty pageant organized by the Kobegane police and the villagers, Manel Nilanthi was crowned the beauty queen of the Kobegane village. Evidences of several witnesses were led by the prosecution, which proved a love affair between the officer in charge of the Kobegane police station and Nilanthi. Among them were love letters written by accused to Nilanthi. The original love letters were handed over to the police station next to Kobegane by Dingiria, the father of the deceased, as he suspected that the Kobegane OIC was responsible for the crime. But at this police station, further wrongdoings took place. Few police officers of that station got another person to transcribe the letters with the same content. These forged letters were the ones that was later submitted to the CID in order to mislead the investigation. Thereby, the same contents were present in different handwriting. When the examiner of questioned documents examined the letters, he was of opinion that the handwriting did not match with those of the accused. However, prudently, Nilanti's father had kept a photocopy of the original. He was a coconut plucker, an ignorant coconut plucker, but fortunately he was prudent enough to keep this. The EQD confirmed that the handwriting in the photocopy was matching with that of the accused. Based on this opinion, the trial judge arrived at the adjudication that the accused had in fact written the contents of the love letters. Added to this, several persons testified that they had seen the accused taking Nilanthi in his official jeep on several occasions prior to the day she was killed, which also added to the evidence regarding the love affair. Certain other incidents which were led in the evidence by Mr. Sarath Jayamanna, my co-author, were linked closely to each other and to the death of Nilanthi. The fact that the deceased on 24 October 89 at 7:30 am left home telling her mother that she was pregnant by the accused was highlighted. Also, the fact that she was going to meet him, as he had stated he would marry her, was a crucial point in the evidence. Chulasiri was a material witness in this case. He worked as Grama Arakshaka Niladhari but was attached to the Kobegane police for about 2 years from the year 1987 and used to bring meals for the accused. On 24th of October 89, that fateful day, accused asked Chulasiri to borrow a van from a certain person and 2 tires. The van and the tires were brought by the driver accordingly. Then the accused took the deceased and also Chulasiri in the van and drove close to an estate. Up till then, Chulasiri did not know the intention of the accused. The accused got down from the vehicle with both of them and a few minutes later shot the deceased Nilanthi. The accused then threatened Chulasiri to bring the petrol can from the van and Chulasiri complied. Accused proceeded to pile tires on her body and poured petrol and set fire to the body afterwards. Now, one problem that was encountered was the question whether Chulasiri should be regarded as an accomplice to the crime. On the insistence of the accused, Chulasiri brought petrol from the van to set fire to the body of Nilanthi. This happened soon after accused shot and killed the deceased. The prosecution argued that Chulasiri was never an accomplice as he only assisted under duress. Further, his assistance was only to set fire to a dead body. Therefore, he cannot be regarded as an accomplice to the charge of murder. According to section 114 of the evidence ordinance, an accomplice is unworthy of credit unless he is corroborated in material particulars. Nevertheless, prosecution argued that there exists ample items of evidence to corroborate the testimony of Chulasiri. Among these, one main factor was an old couple in the neighborhood confirmed the time, place and arrival of the vehicle, report of gunfire and departure of the vehicle. The sequence of events and the time were exactly compatible with the version of Chulasiri. This was a key event. The clever questioning of the prosecutor elicited the information and linked a 1.5-year-old memory to a routine Wednesday evening bana, that is chanting of religious ceremonies at 8 p.m., therefore fixing the time. The owner of the van and the driver confirmed the handing over of the van to the accused and returning the same to him by the accused after 1 hour. In both occasions, Chulasiri accompanied the accused. Recovery of burnt tires from the scene, recovery of a talisman that belonged to the deceased, and forensic evidence regarding the age of the deceased.